Gilliard. I'm a second grade student at the Learning Tree School. I'm going to say a speech about the Tuskegee Airmen. The Tuskegee Airmen were a group of African American fighter pilots. They learned how to fly at the Tuskegee University in Alabama. When they were sent to Europe, they were not allowed to fly in combat missions. Eventually, they were asked to fly in a test mission to see if they could do the job. They completed their mission, although some people did not want them to succeed. They proved them wrong. They showed people that no matter the color of their skin, they could do the job. I'm happy that these men showed the world that we people of color can do anything we put our minds to. It gives me faith to know that when I get older, I too can do anything. Thank you.
Next, we're going to have a performance by the Learning Tree School Band. As stated before, I am a graduate of the Learning Tree, class of 2000, and I just wanted to say thank you to the Learning Tree for putting together such a great organization, such a great event, and thank you, Ms. Bailey, for calling me up and asking me to co-host along with Mr. Bob Law. It's a great honor for me. And in this time, I would like to acknowledge Learning Tree alumni. At this time, I'm going to bring up another Learning Tree alumni, Dr. Erica Faust.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today and finally be reconnected with my first alma mater. Learning Tree was the very first school I ever attended, and I went on to Spelman College, and then I went to Howard University where I became a dentist, and now I'm an orthodontist.
We asked Dr. Darlene DeFore, a professor, a college professor, to read the essays and choose 4 out of the essays of the students, and she did that for us, and we thank you so much for that. So the children, she announced it on the 26th as we asked her, and the 4 children that won will be making presentations to the airmen when we give them our gift today, but they're just going to read an excerpt from their essays, and they're waiting now.
My name is Lyman Savas, and I'm a 5th grade student in the Learning Tree Multicultural School, and I'll be reading a part of my essay. Why is it important to keep the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive? There are many reasons to keep the Tuskegee Airmen legacy alive. The word keep means to maintain, to be faithful, to fulfill, and to continue. Legacy means something handed down, a gift by will. As an African American, the Tuskegee Airmen have willed their legacy to me. And when someone has given you something to take care of or to keep, then it's my job, as well as the job of other African Americans, not to let the legacy die. It is important to know the history of your rights. I'm able to sit in the front of the bus. Why is that? That is because someone fought for me to do so. These brave men overcame something that seemed impossible. They worked and fought to make it possible for others to make history. Learning about the Tuskegee Airmen have taught me that even when it seems that everyone around you seems to be saying no to something, that if you feel in your heart that you can accomplish the impossible, that you will be able to do so. Thank you.
My name is Sabrina Raouf and I'm a 6th grade student at the Learning Tree Multicultural School. Why is it important to keep the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive? It is important to keep the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive because if black people don't know what has been done, then they will think that they can't do anything. But when they know what they have done, then they will be proud that they are who they are. Many people can use the Tuskegee Airmen as a motivational force. People can look up at what they did and say to themselves, wow, they were able to become the first black pilots in America, even though people tried to ruin their plans. I wonder what I can do. It is also important to keep the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive so that future generations will know who the Tuskegee Airmen were. If future generations don't know who the Tuskegee Airmen were, then they won't be able to tell their children about how amazing role models these brave men are. To me, the Tuskegee Airmen are a motivating force because they prove to the world that if you believe in something, you can achieve it. They also taught me that all you have to do is try. If you never try, then you will never know what would happen. The Tuskegee Airmen are my role models. I look up to them. Whenever I think about the Tuskegee Airmen, I think and say to myself, wow, these men were very, very brave, and they deserved better recognition in this country. The Tuskegee Airmen will die one day, but I will make sure that their legacy lives forever in me.
My name is Yasmin Baptiste, and I am an 8th grade student of the Learning Tree Multicultural School. So why is it important to keep the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive? When I think of this question, I wonder, what exactly is a legacy? A legacy to me is something special left to a person for a specific purpose. In this case, I consider it a heritage or an inheritance to cherish and preserve for the future. So I think keeping the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive would be important. The Tuskegee Airmen showed self-discipline while authorities over them tried to shake their confidence. They stood strong while senators and Congress tried to end their program because they thought they were inferior. The airmen stood their ground, followed orders, and still became successful in the end. They are an example for our future leaders to move forward and achieve their goals. We should respect the airmen also for protecting our country. Despite people around them that didn't want their help, they defeated enemies. Every time they went into their planes for combat, they risked their lives for people who probably didn't even want their help. They showed their self-discipline by not fighting their commanders, but fighting for their country. The importance of keeping the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen alive is to show the self-discipline they showed no matter what environment they were in.